We ready? All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Sorry. This is the Freshman Academy PBL Healing Pod. I'm Quinn Bartlett.
I'm Kalia Bryant.
Sayana Hosky.
Cassidy Van Skyver.
Jocelyn Aladeo.
And Michaela Belzer-Maxwell. Well, you may ask, why are we here? Well, the Freshman Academy at Kecoughtan High School has come together to raise awareness about teen mental health and provide a meaningful solution to combat burnout. As a class, we have designed and built a healing pod, a dedicated space to help alleviate stress and provide a well-being among students.
Some of our driving questions for our project were: why is it important to focus on teen mental health and the harmful ways that they cope with stress? What are the most impactful mental health challenges faced by students in Hampton City schools?
And last but not least, how can we make a meaningful and positive impact on teens' mental health at Kecoughtan?
Part 1, background research. During our trip to Hampton University, we watched a documentary talking about social dilemma. We found some startling statistics that fueled our project. 95% of youth ages ranging from 13 to 17 uses social media, with 30% of them almost constantly on it. Since social media has been introduced, 62% of teenage self-harm has increased, and 70% of teenage suicide has also increased. We first discovered our healing pod during our trip to Hampton University. During Kecoughtan counseling statistics, 47 are solace referrals. Solace referrals are basically getting that student professional help like a professional therapist. 32 threat assessments and 20 suicide risk assessments.
Last year, there were only 358 school counseling appointment requests, but this year, just now, there have already been 903, showing that students are needing more help. We also got some statistics of students here. We surveyed over 400 students and found that 69% experience stress or burnout, 59% experience some sorts of anxiety, 4% feel stressed by academics, 58% believe that we need more help here at our school.
Planning and proposal.
This is what we plan to do. First, we plan to find the main problem that negatively affect teen mental health. 2, combat the issues that students are facing. And 3, reduce the level of burnout students experience in their high school years.
We'll do that by gathering data from Kecoughtan students and counseling, using the healing pod as a test to see if we help alleviate these issues.
Our measurable objective is to have when they first enter the healing pod, to have a change in their moods from when they leave.
And then we have our timeline for our project, where our first step was to realize that we're going to face mental health problems head on.
Our second step is that the freshman class did background research to get started on making a big change.
Third, we visited Hampton University to gather some information.
Fourth, we brainstormed ideas on how to build our own version of a healing pod like the one we saw at Hampton University.
Step 5 was building the healing pod and gathering data of mental well-being of students.
And lastly, our last step, step 6, is our goal is to implement healing pods around schools in Hampton and maybe across Virginia as well. Part 3, implementation. The picture on the top is of Mr. Hampton University telling us about his experiences at HU and also some of the mental aspects of being a student there. And the picture on the bottom is of the healing pod at Hampton University, which is what we took inspiration from for ours.
The picture at the top is our freshman PBL team building the healing pod, and the one at the bottom is our model of the motivation poster we saw at HU. Here is the video we used to promote the healing pod on the morning announcements.
Good morning, Warriors. This is Michaela and Corbin. Welcome to our healing pod created by the class of 2028. Have you ever been stressed or overwhelmed? Well, this is the place for you. We have different activities like coloring, relaxing, and reading. healthy environment. No more than 20 minutes, this is still a school day. At Kecoughtan, the home where everyday greatness is the expectation.
Our healing pod has accommodating seating like bean bags, cool activities like coloring, and cool LED lights. Here are our healing pod rules.
Good morning, work.
There's a 20-minute time limit. You have to sign in. Only 4 students at a time. Respect the space and others in it, and you have to make sure you clean up after yourself.
Part 4, our reflection. Here are the outcomes of our project. First, some things that worked well were that the room turned out almost exactly as planned, and that students reported that it helped to calm their nerves and provided them a space to relax.
Some areas for growth is our time management, maybe some more activities, and more data to track the impact of the healing pod. For an example, we started off using surveys, but we decided to expand on that, and we might talk to our counselors and get feedback from other students that use the healing pod.
Next steps. As a freshman class, it is our goal to spread the idea of the healing pod, introduce them to all of Hampton City Schools.
What do we know now that we didn't know before? We know that making small contributions can still make big impacts no matter what we do, and that teamwork can only get things done if we all have the same determination to change things.
What are we most proud of? We were able to work together to reach our goal, and we also created a safe space for those who may just need a break.
Are there any questions?
In the future, do you plan the data collection? Are you going to plan to identify what groups of students use it and what other groups you need to expand access to?
Yes, we do plan we will have reasonings on why you used it, and also like how did it help you, and who used it. There'll be names and it's a sign list. Yes.
I like how you were able to find a model to build your healing pod off of. What's different about Kecoughtan's model than Hampton's?
Kecoughtan's model is a bit smaller, and during our trip, we saw that they had 2 and more, it was more color in it. We plan to add more activities and color in our healing pod.
May I add, I think it's better for teenagers than it is for college students because I feel like college students have a different mind than high schoolers, so it works well with how we think instead of how they think.
And also adding on to what both they have said, but I feel like our healing pod is more different because theirs were built built by construction and all that stuff. Ours we were built from scratch. So, and we put it's for our generation as well. So we put in our thought process and how we feel about it.
I have one last question. Thinking about expanding to have that community impact, what have been your thoughts reaching out to the community centers, the YMCA? When you talk about expanding to all across potentially Virginia, were you thinking of just schools or were you also thinking of other places?
I think we should.
Basically, we were thinking to try to implement it into some middle schools that could try to come visit us, and then we could try to fit it into their buildings. Because I think my teacher said something about Kilgore wanting to see how our healing pod worked. But we weren't really thinking about the YMCA and other things, but we could definitely expand that way too.
Okay. That's a very, very nice idea. We'll take that into account.
Thank you.
I thought the same.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is Team Endeavor. My name is Jalil Williams.
I'm Joseph Palmer. And I'm Madison Falvo.
And this is our freshman academy PBL project, which was the mental health fair.
Our KHS Academy came together this year with a focus on raising more awareness on teen mental health. With the help of teachers, peers, and community partners, we were able to assist in putting on an informational event in our small gym.
Here are some of the driving questions we hope to answer.
Why is mental health important for everyone, and why might it especially be important for teenagers and high school students?
We want to know what major mental health challenges students struggle with in their everyday lives.
And who is doing the work already? How can we add or suggest more positive solutions? Some background research we did from Hampton University, where senior student counselors spoke with us on the importance of mental health, tools to help deal with it, like yoga, meditation, stress while making, and etc. The senior counselors met us on the deck of the healing pods to begin the day. We were to each member of the team, then participated in a meditation trust game before being led on a tour of the rest. There was also yoga available for those who wanted this.
We're having these pods, having a safe space for students to come, both setting as well as a visual setting. And when we get to the tour, I'll talk about different things that we have on campus as far as the activities as well as what those pods are used for. So one final for introducing everyone up here, my colleagues, and then we'll get to our icebreaker. So passing it off.
Okay.
Here are some pictures from our trip. As you can see in the middle, we are looking around at the healing pods that they have there. And on the right, we are doing a meditation workshop. The counselors explained the benefits of aromatherapy for reducing stress and other health-related symptoms. After a brief meditation, we combined cornstarch with our favorite essential oils to create custom stress toys to take home with us.
Put your fingers on the balloon and then just squeeze it in. Alright, so that should put cornstarch in the balloon.
Next, we began planning and proposing our mental health fair. First of all, we started by setting our goals. We wanted to create a mental health fair to give information to students that weren't able to be with us during our trip. We wanted to take steps to achieve this goal by first forming a team of students to run the project, deciding what student tables should be offered, and working with our teacher sponsors, Ms. Day and Mr. Hedrick, and securing dates, as well as working with our teacher sponsors to fill the community representatives. Our main objective was to have a successful event where students could come and leave knowing more afterwards. We started off by forming a team with Ms. Day. Next, we met with Ms. Day after school and recruited help from both SCA and ambassadors. After that, we decided to start creating stress balls, as we had previously seen, and we started to create a list of materials. After that, Ms. Day secured a date for the event, located in the small gym. Afterwards, we decided that a dance station based on team feedback would be best for our peers. And then finally, our team began mapping out the tables where each station should be held.
After all the planning and proposing, we are finally here at the mental health fair. We had the Latitude Climbing Gym come in to speak to our students about how rock climbing and other fun activities can help to build towards happiness. We also had the Hampton City social work team encourage students to create positive messages, similar to something we saw at Hampton University. The Just Dance Station was voted on as an activity that we could use at our mental health fair. And a lot of students came and had a lot of fun at this station. Here's a short clip. As you can see in the video, a lot of students, including myself, had a lot of fun at this station, and it was just a good way to get the body moving and spread joy around the whole room. We also had a jewelry station, which people could go to create bracelets with positive messages. We can make them for friends, loved ones, and we could do all this while talking to the people around us and just having a good time. We also had TTNM come to raise awareness about comprehensive mental health services being provided in our local area.
Next, after we had finished, we decided to reflect on what we could do better in the future.
Some things that worked well were the student engagement. We had a better turnout than what we thought, and everyone seemed to really enjoy themselves. We even had an after-school event, so parents could be able to join us.
In the future, we think that it would be important that we could have these events more frequently, especially if there were students that were absent on the day of the fair.
Some of the next steps that we think we should take is we should look to secure more community partners and expand into a larger gym so that we can have more opportunity for students to come in, because at the last one we were in the back gym and we couldn't have all of our students make it. So we also want to look at having a quarterly fair instead of just a 1 year around one, because then we could also expand how many kids could come in and experience our mental health fair.
Thank you for listening to what we have to say. We have a couple minutes for some questions.
Can you speak to, do y'all have any plans or visions for how you would implement this outside of the school or into other schools?
I feel like other schools could pick up on it and introduce it to their own students, so that way everyone else has an understanding of mental health and what we can do to help with it.
Building off what you said, I also do think that we could possibly like go outside of our school limits and like try to go to like maybe churches or just other places in the area to help spread the awareness all around the city.
How did you gain student feedback after the event took place? So clearly you can get an impression by body language and, you know, talking and things like that in the moment, but what else did you do to kind of gain any additional feedback or data on the results?
Okay, so at the mental health fair, when you first walked in, we had these things that we called passports. They had like little spots for you to get stamps from each station kind of. And so a lot of it was like just looking at impressions and like just the overall environment of the entire mental health fair. We did base like mostly on that. But like just knowing that each student kind of went around to more than just one station and got stamps, so that like we could see that they actually enjoyed like going around to the different stations and gathering information all around. That was kind of basically like all we really did, but we could always look into more options on how to gather feedback and stuff.
I'd also like to add that I had a lot of family members that came to the one in the afternoon, and I spoke with them afterwards on what we did well and what we could do better in the future.
Okay. That passport piece, I think, will be really fun to kind of gauge as they're leaving, you know, how many students completed their passport, and then use which stations they mostly went to really see, we got to do this station again, or we got to expand on that station. You could probably use that itself to gain the data that you'd want.
Or a suggestion box for what they would like to see based on after the experience.
Or even like a Google form survey afterwards. Like you said, you gathered it verbally, but have it written so that you guys can go back to that. That's great.
Thank you guys so much for the suggestions. Any other questions?
Okay, good morning. Hello. We'd like to thank you for coming out. And I am Jeter Kinzero.
My name is Colton Adams.
My name is Christian Bowman. And again, we are part of the Academy of Architecture, Environmental, and Engineering. And our project for, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Breathe. Okay, you're okay.
Our customer is Mr. David Springs. And here is where our project originated off. It's called Buckrow Coffee Co. off Pembroke Avenue. And this is just our bird's eye view of on Google Maps on where he wanted the dog park, and this is a AutoCAD blueprint of what we pretty much just introduced our customer. Here is where Mr. David Springs bought this is before the project initiated, and here is where he came out and actually visited our classroom with our very looking mad colleague. Okay, our first part was to basically just get a background research on the fencing, cost of material, and just shelf life of all materials. Here is where we actually sketched out the blueprint so we could actually bring back and show Mr. Spring at the coffee shop. And this is where we used the system website called AutoCAD. And this is basically just our step-by-step on how we wanted to initiate and execute the project. First, we met with the client, identified all the obstacles that he approved of, and we actually went in and actually saw the materials he had available on the site. And afterwards, we start site prepping and actually initiating the project. And this is a picture of last year, actually, of me and my friend Logan, where we are actually on site and listing all the obstacles that could be made with the materials he had on site. Here is basically a various of pictures from last year to current now. Slide through, where we cleaned the fence up, made it more aesthetically pleasing. Last year is where me and a few of our previous classmates and friends, myself, Logan Lee, James Taylor, and Mohammed. And this is the pictures of the materials he had on site already and just what he wanted. More pictures. And our planning and proposal, where we started making displays, miniature displays for the customer and see which one he would prefer. Okay, and this is basically where we planned. We visited the site, measured all the required measurements for the obstacles, and yeah.
Okay, so here's the potential obstacle courses. So these are a few ideas we had and examples to get this dog park going. Here's were examples of the benches that we're going to install. This was actually what Mr. Spring chose, and this is what we made. So here's were the tools and measurements that were needed to make the fencing and the benches. Here are the actual miniature 3D displays of the obstacle courses. Here's the full, so it's right here, actually, Here's the actual model of it. I don't know if I should walk around here or not, but
yes. You can tilt it, it's all right.
It's a detail art. Thank you. Okay. Do what you're doing. Thank you. So that's the whole model of it, of the whole dog park. More of it I see on there, and more planning proposal for our measurements for our bench. So this is more implementation right here.
Okay, well, this is where we met with a dog obstacle expert, where she basically just gave her point of view on how or what obstacles dogs like to transition to, or maybe, just like or prefer. And I'm sorry, I actually forgot her name, but this is our virtual meet on March 4th.
This is me and my peers. This is this year's trip. This is everyone that was here. People. This is what we started doing. We started with landscaping and fixing the site, all that on the fence, with making it look more presentable. Same here with the what are they called? The pine needles. Yeah, pine needles. We started taking them out, making it look more presentable again. Just to his liking. Here we started setting up the dog park a little bit better, fixing the tires, fixing around. That's pretty much it there. This was just break.
Here is one of our projects. This obstacle is called the weave pole, where dogs can train their agility by weaving through or going in and out of the weave poles.
So, reflections. Here's the dog park bench design and build. As you see, it's fully made on the image. This is us putting it into the truck and going over to the site, and the bench is there. We finished cleaning out pretty much everything. So our outcomes. What worked well was our planning and communication with our client, Mr. Spring, and the building of display went perfectly well. The areas of growth, more materials, I feel which should be more gathered prior to construction. And this was our 48-inch park bench. The original price was $756, but the current price that we got was $388. That's how much materials we needed to make it. And there's the measurements down there. Yeah, this is what the Buckle Coffee Shop looks like now.
In current effect.
In current effect. It's going good. I love it.
Okay.
And right now, that is it. Any questions? Yes.
First, the positive thing. I love how much hands-on work you guys did. That's really amazing. I'm really proud of you. I'd like to take 2 steps back, though. Can you tell me in your words what the community issue or problem is that this project addressed? I guess what I'm asking is there's Ridgeway Bark Park, there's Bark Park up at Sandy Bottom. What makes this one different or meet the needs of the community?
Okay, well, originally we actually reached out for those parks, but we were sadly rejected. And that's when Mr. Spring kind of got a whiff of it, and he was like, I'm gladly to cooperate or collab with you. And he was like presenting that since it's so close to the beach and like the communities like apartments and housing where there aren't much dog obstacle course or like parks where dogs like run around, or where the owners of the dog or animal owner can actually enjoy and actually, take their dog without it's just a reasonable driving distance.
Right.
Where they're able just to, drink coffee, maybe get some exercise for both dog and the owner.
So it enriches the community by giving dogs and their owners an outlet to spend quality time together.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you were rebuffed by the city, like the parks, they weren't interested in working with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that helps me understand. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any yes, ma'am.
Again, I am so impressed with the implementation of going from your blueprints to your 3D models to actually creating it. You need to showcase that more. My suggestion would be to go back to the park and take a video to showcase everything you built, to show the impact, but then also, get some data on, how is it going? Are customers using it? Are they not using it? Are you finding that there's some things that are working really well, because that may then help you to expand, right? This is one location in the community, so you saved almost 50% on the overhead costs. You guys could market yourselves, absolutely. And then also those obstacles in the beginning, I think that's a huge, thing to find out, why were they not interested? I would be interested to know why they weren't interested in collaborating with you all. You need to show them what you provided to them. So really excited, but can see how there's other ways for you to
keep expanding.
Just keep that movement going.
Yes. I totally agree. Thank you.
I know you mentioned that you utilized AutoCAD to create your blueprints, but what other software or programs did you use throughout the project?
So mostly with the design work that is technology-wise, we pretty much only did use AutoCAD, pretty much, because that's the one that we learned in the success criteria, how to use AutoCAD and use it in an advanced way and make the design project come to realization.
Did you use like any 3D printing or anything to create your model?
Yeah, we did.
So what kind of software did you use and what did that process look like?
So with that part, I wasn't on that part with the 3D models. My other colleagues were with the 3D models, so they probably know which software they use. I'm not so sure about it.
You use CAD software to develop them to send to the 3D printer.
Yeah.
Any further questions or comments?
All right, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Amy Deep, and we're excited to present on project on helping small businesses succeed past the startup phase.
I'm Robert Conklin, and last year we hosted the Community Festival for All. It connected small businesses, food trucks, and KHS clubs all together with the community. And through this experience, we realized that many small businesses face challenges with what to do after they get their business license.
And I'm Jerome Quigley, and that challenge helped us create our 60-day playbook for business success. Our goal is to provide entrepreneurs with a clear roadmap to navigate through the first 90 days covering funding, marketing, legal requirements, and operations. Today we'll walk you through our research, our process, and how this playbook can make a real impact. Let's get started.
Imagine this. You've just received your business license. It's official. You're ready to start your business. However, reality sets in. What's next?
Because getting a business license, that's just your first step. The real challenge is turning that first paperwork into profit. Many new business owners struggle with things like setting up their finances, marketing, and their basic operations, and that's where we come in.
Through our hands-on PBL, we've developed a 60-day playbook for business success, guiding entrepreneurs through the critical first 90 days from managing money to building a brand. Our playbook provides the essential steps to help small businesses thrive.
So, if you're ready to turn big ideas into real success, let's dive in and show you how. Starting a business is exciting, but for many new small business owners, the journey gets overwhelming right after they get their license. They have the green light to operate, but what comes next isn't always clear.
Yeah, and the first 60 days are critical for setting up a strong foundation. Things like opening a business bank account or managing your finances, marketing, and understanding your taxes. But many entrepreneurs lack the knowledge and the know-how to get past those first steps and navigate the stage successfully.
And without the right guidance, small businesses risk financial struggles, missed opportunities, and even failure before they even really get started. That's why we created a solution to give new business owners a clear, actionable plan to succeed just beyond getting a license.
Now, this brings us to our driving question. How can new businesses, both profit and nonprofit, effectively navigate the first 60 days after receiving their business license to ensure long-term success?
And let's see. We know that the first 2 months are critical. Entrepreneurs need to make smart financial decisions. There's a lot of different elements to the business process. It takes a lot of work, and once again, that's why we need the Playbook. There's all this information across all these different websites. Where do you go if you're a business in need of information? You should go to our Playbook.
Our goal was to create a simple solution that provides clear, actionable steps to help small business owners build a strong foundation for success. And that's exactly what we set out to do. Now let's take a look at our process.
Our project began last year with the Festival for All, a community event designed to highlight small businesses, food trucks, and Kecoughtan High School clubs and organizations. It was an opportunity for local entrepreneurs to showcase their businesses and connect with the community.
And through this experience, we discovered that while many small businesses were excited to participate in our festival, a lot of them fell short of how to properly run that business and struggled with even the basics. Some weren't sure how to handle their finances, market themselves, or even manage their inventory.
And that realization led us to our current PBL, creating a 60-day playbook for business success, a resource to help new entrepreneurs navigate the early stages of business ownership and set themselves up for long-term success.
So last year, there I am, we hosted the Festival for All, and I would call it a really big success. We worked really hard all year long, but we got out there, and the goal of this festival is to support small businesses. My parents run a small contracting business, so my passion to help small businesses in our community is deep-rooted. I've personally seen so many businesses go out of business. I've seen my parents struggle financially because of all the hardships that have been going on recently, just in the news or just if you walk down the street, it's all over the place. And that's why I created the Festival for All, because I'm passionate about helping these small businesses and helping our local Hampton roads. So that was last year, which I would call a success, but there were a couple things that we didn't quite live up to our expectations. But next year, or I guess I should say now it's this year, May 3rd, we are planning on hosting it again with more vendors, more food trucks. We're reaching out sooner. We're doing all the planning sooner. Everything is getting done faster, and it is getting done with more support from the community due to this being an annual event. So it's completely made by students all the way from the start, from the idea all the way to the permits, to the looking at security, to the planning. This is an event that wasn't an adult event. This is students making a festival that supports their community. So May 3rd, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., you should all come out and see what we're doing here and see how we're supporting Hampton. I see a beautiful future for this festival as it goes on beyond my stay here at Kecoughtan.
Before we could create our 60-day playbook for success, we need to understand the real challenges new business owners face. That meant diving deep into research and connecting with industry experts.
So our entrepreneurship team, which I was a part of, compiled the booklet's contents based on different business models. We even held a Zoom meeting with Skylar Barnes, and that's the small business project coordinator for the city of Hampton, who confirmed that many new business owners that she talked to were indeed struggling with what to do after they get that permit.
Meanwhile, our World Banking and Finance team gathered key financial information. They met with Sydney Spiegel from Bayport Credit Union to learn about small business banking services, including checking and savings accounts, business loans, and POS systems, all critical for financial stability.
And finally, our information design team brought the project to life visually. They designed the front and back covers, as well as section dividers, ensuring our playbook was not only informative, but also professional and engaging.
And so all that research made it clear to us that through the numbers and through what we discovered, these different obstacles, like I mentioned, those basic operations, the financing and the marketing, just getting your business off the ground. So that allowed us to develop the resources and develop this tool to help small businesses succeed and make a true difference.
As we reached the needs of new business owners, we realized that not all businesses operate the same way. Some businesses sell physical products, while others offer services. Some operate online, and others focus on giving back to the community. To create a resource that could help a variety of entrepreneurs, we focused on 5 key business models.
Okay, But we started with just 2. We started with retail and online retail. We know that a lot of these small businesses start either as a physical storefront or online through things like Shopify or Etsy, and each comes with its own unique challenges, such as inventory management or payment processing.
We also focused on service-based businesses like hair salons, cleaning services, and personal training, who don't sell physical products, but sell their expertise and skills instead. Many new service business owners struggle with pricing, client management, and marketing.
In addition, we covered nonprofit and online profit organizations.
So that means in the end we got to 5. That means retail, online retail, service, nonprofit, and online nonprofit. And we made sure that this 60-day playbook can apply to all 5, a vast range of new businesses as they navigate their first 2 months in business.
Now each judge has a copy of the playbook in front of them, and inside you'll find a step-by-step guide we created to help small business owners move from just having a business license to actually running a successful business.
Great.
So we had 20 different attendants at this event that we held. They all came out, and it was a great success once again. We had 3 amazing guest speakers as well, and the first was Marco Frigelge, the Executive Director of EnQHub, who gave his own personal insight into the resources and support that he found for small businesses. Next, we had Skylar Barnes, the Small Business Project Coordinator for the City of Hampton, who discussed how the city supports its local businesses. And Cindy Spiegel from Bayport Credit Union provided financial guidance for small credit unions, such as loans, bank accounts, and credit lines.
Great. As you can see, the atmosphere was one of support and encouragement, where people were building relationships on these side hustle chats. Now, this brings us to our conclusions and questions. We've enjoyed sharing our hard work with you today, and we're excited to see how these steps can transform ideas into thriving businesses. Now, we'd like to open the floor to any questions you may have. We're happy to answer any queries or dive deeper into any aspect of the question. Thank you so much for your time.
Question.
Yes?
After you did your festival for all, how did you identify the new challenges for the business owners?
Well, Robert can answer that. He coordinated it.
Well, founding the event, that wasn't the hard part. The easy part was finding vendors who wanted to join. The hard part was getting them there. On the final day, we had people cancel right before because I guess they couldn't figure out how to get there. There were parts of the logistics that they didn't understand. So we found out by going to the festival and saying where all the people who said they were going to be here. Right. So identifying those key issues was really just looking at why were they not able to come.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
So you created this, which I love, the 60-day plan. This is awesome. How are we distributing this to the community or letting people know it exists?
Well, from the side hustle chats, we have these organizations. We try to invite people from Parent Square or emails. They can come to the Kecoughtan High School and they can get these playbooks if they want to help grow their businesses.
And to add on to that, at the Side Hustle Chat, we actually had a church ask us directly if we could do a Side Hustle Chat there. So at these side...
It's all right.
At these Side Hustle Chats is where we give out these playbooks, it's where we give out advice, but we also have plans to go into community centers, such as the Northampton Community Center.
All right, thank you.
Related question. First of all, thank you. Your presentation was great, and I can see how much work and preparation you put into it. For the 60-day playbook, and at one point I had a small business, and this would have very much helped me. Do you have future plans on having a more personalized depth of support behind this playbook?
Yes, of course. My parents, they're also small business owners, and they're going to open up a new store. They have their business license, and this playbook is really going to help my family push through that startup phase.
Okay. So do you have any plans in the future on having people, if somebody gets stuck or gets confused, having some resources, personalized resources they could reach out to?
Yes, of course. They can email. As you know, we're from Kecoughtan High School, PBL, and we're a group of students from the AEID, so we're happy to answer any questions as we're also learning on how to improve the playbook.
Great job.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much. We appreciate your time.
I just wanted to uplift for everybody in the audience who didn't see the playbook, how much effort they put into this. They have a disclaimer. They do. Like, legal disclaimer. And so I read it over and it made me chuckle because it just exemplifies how much thought you put into the creation of this. Who did you collaborate with to ensure, like, because this disclaimer is like textbook legalities, neither the authors, their school, or any affiliated parties assume liability for any actions taken in reliance on the information contained herein. You've really checked your boxes. So first question is, how did you collaborate, or who did you collaborate with for those aspects of the playbook?
Yeah, so we made that playbook in entrepreneurship. There were multiple different classes that were assigned it. We all made all different variants of it, and we all came together to make that book. So we had a lot of assistance from our teachers to make sure that it was up to snuff, that businesses could actually use it. But a lot of the ideas of how to get a business up and running was all engineered by our entrepreneurship team.
Yep. See, each of us, we come from each branch. I'm from the information design team. Could you guys tell which team you're from?
I'm from the entrepreneurship and marketing team.
And I'm from the World Banking and Finance team.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Great. Good morning.
Thank you all for coming out. So the organization that we researched and supported was the Hampton University Proton Therapy Institute. Our essential question was, how does one person's experience reflect the struggles of a whole nation? So the history of Hampton University Proton Cancer Institute, it was founded by Dr. Harvey after the opening of the first Proton Cancer Institute in 1990. Opened in 2010 after Dr. Harvey realized that the large number of African American men with prostate cancer in Hampton. The closest center was 80 miles away, and he wanted the treatment to be easily accessible. Here's a picture of the founder and one of his workers.
We are working to build a future relationship with our organization. We will work with them together through our festival. Our organization will have their own booth for people to come and donate needs like food, care packages, and blankets. To spread the word of our festival, we will post flyers on our personal social media. Another goal of ours is to facilitate support from our community, and this will help us do that as well.
Proton therapy is a proven technology that safely and precisely targets cancer cells. This can promote less damage to your health and can have less side effects and improves quality of life during and after your treatment.
We had a driving question, and here's my answer to that. Not-for-profit organizations compete with other for-profit businesses and remain solvent by getting support from the community and SS students. We had to do some background research, so here it is.
The organization needs is new presents or toys for our young patients. Treatment rooms can sometimes get cold, so blankets are always appreciated. If vending machines go down, our care packages are there to help support our patients.
Our organization's mission is to offer collaborative research and apply novel strategies to cancer research while using the resources at Hampton University to contribute to cancer prevention and understanding cancer for the future.
Hampton University Proton Cancer Institute focuses mainly on cancer patients and treating them with a type of science machine that shoots protons into the cancer area affected in the body. Here's our planning and proposal. We as students had made up a plan to raise money to send a cash donation to our organization. We're also creating a drive to obtain items needed for our organization.
How we did it was by conducting a raffle. We gave away a pair of Beats, AirPods, and gift cards to different fast food restaurants. Through our festival here at Kecoughtan, on May 3rd, community members will drop off items our organization needs, and we will then go and drop it off to Hampton University.
We will measure our impact by the amount of people we can reach out to and help us.
This is the template that we followed for our project. First, we started by researching our organization and finding their website. Then we met here in the library in that conference room with our organization representative. We were able to identify the needs and challenges, and we came up with a plan to help support it. Then we were able to implement the plan, being the raffle that we did in the cafeteria. And the next step that we're preparing for is the Festival for All.
Here's our implementation.
Here are some of the flyers we created to promote our raffle. We posted them around the school for people to see.
This is a commercial from one of the other organizations. We decided to add this commercial to our presentation because it showed information about the raffle that we conducted.
These are some of the pictures of our students and staffs contributing to our raffle.
Here's our reflection piece.
Our outcomes that worked well for us was researching and meeting with our organization's representatives.
Areas we feel that we could do better in is getting our ideas to multiple people, spreading the word out more to get more tickets, and finding an alternative for people who don't carry cash.
We're hosting a Festival for All here at Kecoughtan on May 3rd. During the raffle, we were only able to raise about $215, so we may hold another one.
Here are some of our reflection questions.
What would you do differently or tell yourself to do if you were to start today? I would choose to prioritize the research more and to work more diligently. I feel like we got away from doing the research and it definitely put us behind a little bit.
What do you know now that you didn't know before? I didn't know about the cancer and how they treated it. I also didn't know what the organization needs were.
What are you most proud of since starting this experience? I am most proud of working with my group, becoming closer with them, and learning about something new that not many people talk about enough. The Cancer Institute has also helped over 100,000 cases, and I'm very proud of that.
Going back to that essential question from earlier, how does one person's experience reflect the struggles of a nation? When individuals face challenges such as poverty, discrimination, or economic hardship, these struggles can reflect the nation's problem as a whole. And that's the end of our slides. Thank you all for coming out and listening to us. Is there any questions? Yeah.
Can you help me understand a little bit better the raffle? How did that money benefit the Proton Institute? Was it direct cash or was it supplies? Help me close that loop.
Yeah, so we gave them the money in direct cash. We had to distribute it. We couldn't give them the full $215 because there was more than just our organization. But with their part of the money, yeah, we just gave them that cash so that way they could do whatever they needed to with it.
Okay. Do you have plans in the future to expand this?
Yeah, our goals are to continue working with them so that way we're able to help them in the future and help support them with anything they need.
What was I know you said the fundraiser amount was $215. What is your goal? What was your actual goal for it?
We didn't exactly, I don't think we set a goal, but it was definitely more than that. We didn't set a goal. We tried to promote it as much as we can so that way we could raise as much as we can. But we're going to try to set up a new raffle so that way we can raise a little more money to help support the organizations more.
And we were also hoping to get enough to reimburse Miss Winter for buying the prizes. Send enough back to our organization.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
What made your team decide to donate money as the support for this organization? Like, what made you decide that what we wanted to do to support a nonprofit like this is to raise money?
I think we gave them the money so that way they could do anything that they needed to with it. So whether that be more research for cancer, whether that be supplies for their patients, or anything like that, we gave them the money so that way they could do whatever they needed to with it. Is there any more questions?
Alright, if I could get everyone's attention up here. Right now, I'm currently setting out one of our literacy kits. This one is Brown Bear, What Do You See? There's also an activity that goes with this kit that is going to be for Spanish-speaking learners learning English that you will see later on in our presentation.
We have two versions. We have one of the versions is in English, and then the other one is in Spanish. Then, followed by two activities in here. One made by one of our students, Kira. So then we have, this is a matching activity made by one of our students, where you take the animals. So in the story, you'll go through, and then you'll talk about what you see, and matching the animals to what animal sees what. And these are our activities made by our students here at Kecoughtan for our literacy kits.
Good morning, my name is Abigail Browning. I'm the Senior ATEL Academy Ambassador.
Hello, my name is Victoria Scott. I'm a Senior ATEL student.
I'm Atlas Burke. I am the Junior Academy Ambassador for ATEL.
And my name is Savannah Bilski. I am a sophomore ATEL student. And this is the Kecoughtan High School ATEL Academy with our dual language literacy kits.
Our project overview is that ATEL has been working on community outreach by providing resources to local schools and daycares to support the growing dual language learning community in the city of Hampton. Our driving question is, how can we as future educators create and implement effective community outreach designed to engage dual language students and their families? We've come up with some potential solutions: creating literacy kits for dual language learners in grades K through 2, demonstrating our literacy kit activities at local schools, and distributing those kits to local daycares and libraries. The kits includes a multitude of things, including children's books in both English and Spanish, total physical response activities, and reading comprehension activities. The purpose is to make learning English fun and comfortable for all of the students and parents as well. The kit on our screen was made by one of our presenters, Savannah.
So this is my kit right here. It is the All Are Welcome dice roll that I created in class and also somewhat on my own time. My kit included the All Are Welcome book, a soft dice, and 2 plastic bags that have both questions for kids to answer in both Spanish and English, and teacher instructions also in both Spanish and English.
What are DLL students? DLL, or dual language learners, is a student who is learning 2 languages at once. The language they are learning at home, and more often than not, English. Some aspects of teaching DLL is incorporating the language they're learning at home, engaging the family, and using resources like flashcards, books, games, and now our literacy kits. In 2023, 27%, or over 117,000 of elementary students were DLL across the Commonwealth. And in 2025, 121 students are enrolled as DLL in Hampton City Schools in grades K through 2. Here's a visual representation of the data we found.
For our planning and proposal, we met with Viviana Fullwood, a community partner who works with dual language learners through her business, A+ Academics. She shared tips to help us engage dual language students and families. She also connected us with Hampton City Schools ELA department. We met with the ELA department at Kecoughtan to see what activities would best help the students. Using the resources provided by Hampton City Schools ELA department, we began choosing children's books and brainstorming literacy activities to create with the books. What we planned to do was address the academic needs of dual language learners in grades K-2 in the areas of reading comprehension. How we did it was by providing literacy-based kits for dual language learners in grades K-2, participating in family engaging events, and distributing our kits.
In early January, we met with the ELL department to understand how to help DLL students. Then we created our kits to provide a resource for our community partners.
Then we reached out to those community partners to implement our kits.
And then we implemented our kits at Langley Elementary School for their DLL classrooms.
Then in early February, we distributed the kits in child care centers, libraries, and English language centers.
So a couple of locations that we have worked with, our first one being Langley Elementary School, and where we went into DLL classrooms and worked with the kids in small groups. Our second one is the La Petite Academy of Hampton, which is a child care center in which we donated a kit to them. Our next one being the Patriot Center, where we worked with the World Language Welcome Center, in which we participated in a family engagement event with them, and we also donated a kit to them. And our final one is the City of Hampton Public Library, in which families can go in and check out a kit for them to take home and work with their kids, siblings, and yeah.
What worked well for us was that our ATEL students developed a better understanding of the ELL department and our ELL students. We formed multiple connections with community partners in our area, and our students stepped up when it came to the creation of our kits.
For our areas of growth, we feel that we can grow in communication, increasing student involvement, and implementing more kits.
When it comes to the struggles we encountered and the changes we can make, they go hand in hand with each other. Starting off, we had to pivot from our original PBL. And due to that, we had to find a new community partner, and then we found Ms. Fullwood, she then connected us with the ELL department, and now we have our literacy kits. Since we're not all in the same class, it was hard to find time to work with each other, but when we did, it was really valuable and it was good for our project. And then meeting more with our community partners, instead of having just large groups go meet with the community partners, we would choose smaller, more select groups for a more engaging and personal experience.
So a couple of next steps that we'd like our academy to take is the first one being having more kits made, as we only had 12 kits made to be able to implement out there. Our next would be having more languages implemented, as Hampton is a growing population. Our next is to have more resources available to parents. Our kits are resources, but having a guide around Hampton would be something we're definitely looking into doing. Our last one is having more kits as kids progress in learning the English language. Here's a video of me implementing my activity at Langley Elementary School in a DLL classroom with a small group of children, about 5 to 6 kids. It's okay, it's just me asking one of the kids, what do they like to do for fun? Because the book was all about diversity, and they may have some questions that they're going to answer the same, which is good, because, we like to feel included, and we all like to feel the same in some way, but at the end of the day, it's better to be different than all put together in one group.
And this is our thank you slide. We want to give a thank you to our community partners and everyone who helped.
We want to give a thank you to ATEL,
Ms. Hansen,
and then a thank you to all of you being here today and listening to us. And does anyone have any questions? Yes.
I have 2 questions. First of all, can you speak a little bit to where your financial resources for creating these kits came from?
So we were funded $200, but with that, Ms. Hansen had already had books that she could provide to us, and with books that we did not have, she did buy for us with that $200 fund. But all of these activities, like this one right here, was created on Canva. The professional look makes it seem like a lot of time and effort was put into this, which it is. At the end of the day, one of these activities takes around, I'd say, an hour to 2 hours to create.
And that's connected to my next question is, have you guys identified another target language that you would like to move into? For example, I would say, Mandarin, Farsi, Ukrainian, all of those are up and coming.
So I do know our second most language spoken here in Hampton is Vietnamese, I believe. So that is something that I would definitely like to expand on. Any other questions?
Yeah. First of all, I want to commend you guys. You're already doing a great job as you think about being future teachers of pivoting or thinking smarter, using things like Canva to speed up some of the more tricky things. I know you guys mentioned adding on more kits or more. What is your idea for how you would like to continue to expand? I know you mentioned languages, but would you do more grade levels? Would you look at other subjects? Because I do think this is something that's super powerful and that would help the students and families.
So, when it comes to expanding on the kits, another thing that was mentioned in our presentation was the kits would age up with the kids in a way. We would make like the activities harder, going over more than just like grammar and vocabulary. We'd go with like sentence forming. And then in a way, I guess we could expand on literacy in a different way. And like more challenging books, like starting with like chapter books. But as of right now, we're just focused on K through 2 until we can get a more stable foundation for these literacy kits.
That makes sense. Awesome. You go ahead. You probably ask for that.
Sorry, for the Hampton Library kit that you dropped off, how many times has it been checked out so far?
So we just dropped that kit off yesterday. So as of right now, we are not sure if it's even put in the database. But when it is, that is information that we would definitely like to put in our slides.
To follow up on that, how are you going to advertise that that is available at the library?
So I go to the library often when my parents can't pick me up because it's just like a 20-minute walk from Kecoughtan. So I know some of the librarians. I sit in their book nooks and I can definitely talk to them about having flyers. And I don't know if it's the library we have it at right now, but one of the libraries does a language night every Mondays to help with families, so that can be something that their kids do while the parents are also building on their English language comprehension.
So I'm just going to suggest, when we talk about how do we move this forward, that's a staple that would be a huge way to connect with the community, is fitting into there, attending that, bringing the kits, just really showcasing it, because a lot of families who could benefit from this, they don't know that it's available to them.
Can I piggyback off of that? So have you got any feedback? I know you went to Langley personally, but from the daycare center or anywhere else, and I know you just did the library, but do we have feedback from anywhere else about how they were used or how it went?
Okay, so we did have a couple of pictures of like the kids giving us feedback, and most of them really liked it. But for La Petite, we actually did give them a kit about a week ago, and they just had a family enroll and they speak Spanish. So they're very excited to be able to implement that because they don't have funding for like ELL or DLL or anything like that. So that's where we come in to help them. But they're very excited about that.
Okay.
Any other questions for us?
Which kid is your favorite?
Oh, I'm going to say my kid. I can back that up with Miss Hanson saying it was her favorite kid too.
Good job, guys. Good job. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Come on. I know we're tired, but you can do better than that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. Well, my name is Cameron Royal.
I'm Candace Woodard.
I'm Crystal Woodard.
And I'm Sophia Harris.
And we're part of the
On Stage Performing Arts Academy.
And we're with Miss Bourne's Green 1 Acting 3 class. And this is our presentation, The Enchanted Journey.
So our driving question for this project was, how can we use the arts to support the missions and goals of local community organizations?
So our objective was, the goal was to help our children of Hampton interact with the arts and embrace creativity at an early age through collaboration with the Hampton Arts Education and the American Theater.
So what exactly did we do for our research? We had 3 main points of research.
Our first was fairy tales and folk tales from different cultures. In class, starting all the way back in September, we had several assignments focused on diving into our own cultures and finding folk tales and fairy tales that they give to kids to help them, learn morals, right? So we did deep dives into our own cultures and shared them all with the class, shared our finds. And our second was researching children's theater. So we looked up local theater companies, global theater companies that work with children hands-on and get them involved with the arts early on. And then we found a way to collaborate those together as a class. And finally, our last point was doing business. We partnered with Hampton Arts Education, created a contract, and really got into the nitty-gritty of trying to put on a professional production with our community partner. And here are some of our research pictures. Here is our document from when we met with our representatives from Hampton Arts Education, as well as our main questions and sources for researching children's theater and folktales.
What we wanted to do. What we wanted to do was put on a community production for our local youth, encourage children to get involved in the arts, bring attention to our Performing Arts Academy, connect with a local theater organization, as well as creating a way for future students to get involved. And I bet you're wondering, why? So initially when we met with Hampton Arts Education, we discovered that the American Theater wasn't able to provide children's theater. And so being the Performing Arts Academy, we jumped to do that because we have a desire to produce and perform our own original scripts, plays, and performances. And also, it's a personal thing. It's a personal aspect. We all know that when we were younger, we weren't given opportunities like this. We weren't able to go out and go to performances or engage with a theater. And so we felt that we truly wanted to give out this opportunity because now being in this academy, we love doing what we do and we wish we could have started younger. And we actually had a young girl come up to us after our performance and tell us just how much she wanted to be like us when she got older.
A bit of our planning and proposal process was that we first wrote an original script, conducted rehearsals, and then we met with the Hampton Arts representatives to plan out our contract and discuss their needs as well as ours that were needed for this project. And we finally wanted to promote and perform the show. A bit of the tasks we needed to do this proposal was we partnered to meet with the partners of the Hampton Arts Education, create our contract, draft our scripts, and then create original sets and costumes, and then finally put on our show. This is just a picture of us meeting with the Hampton Arts. It's just us doing introductions, going over what we needed, what they needed, and what their expectations were for this project.
Okay, this is our continued research on the children's theater. We essentially just researched a lot of different theaters that put on children's theater, and we figured out what needed to be in ours so that we could make a good performance. All right, so some tools that we used to manage our project was we had a form that we all completed at the end of each rehearsal, which was 2 to 3 months every other day for Ms. Bourne's class. And then we collected hours for the data. And then we also used a management template to record the planning and set completion dates. We had the document and then whatever task we wanted to be completed by a specific date, we completed it and we recorded it down. As I said previously, this is our management document that told us what we wanted to do, what we wanted to complete it by, and this is our rehearsal form.
So here is our timeline. It was easy peasy, 6 stages, not really. Our first was again researching folktales that started on September 5th. Again, the very heavy deep dive into our own cultures. And then we move on into September 11th on diving into children's theater, again, going across the globe, down the coast of who's doing children's theater and who's doing it right. And then our third was to finally collaborate as a group, settle on 4 folktales that we wanted to give out to these kids, and focus on modernizing them to make them digestible. I know you guys have all heard Hansel and Gretel. Well, we had to modernize a little bit because not everybody's into like super old German stuff, so we had to move on. And that was from September 17th to the 25th. And again, through September 17th to 25th, we created that script as a class. And from the 25th to the 13th, we ran rehearsals, again, 2 to 3 months every other day in Ms. Bourne's class. And finally, on December 14th, we put on the show for our community.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to be passing out copies of our script. Each script contains 2 of our stories. We modernized 4, our first one being The Boy Who Cried Fall, and this was based on the ancient Greek story of the boy who cried wolf. But we modernized it and had it that a boy and his family made cookies for their mother's birthday, but there's a notorious thief on the loose. When his family goes to get a gift for their mom, he decides to play a prank call that the thief has came and stolen all the cookies. And he does this quite a few times, but the thief actually comes and steals the cookies. But guess what? When he calls his family, they don't believe him. So upon their arrival, they discover that the cookies are gone and he takes the blame for it. So our moral is not to lie.
For our next story, we have Harry and Gia. It's based off of Hansel and Gretel, and it's the German culture. We have two kids that are stealing from a corner store because they're fighting off starvation. They're going through hard times, and unfortunately they went through tough measures to get what they needed. So they came into a conflict with the store clerk for stealing, and eventually they came to a compromise because they were only kids, which our moral was to not steal and to just be honest.
Our third is a bit less well known. This was The Legend of the Werehorse. It focuses on a Filipino folklore fairy tale about a man who has the head of a horse and the body of a man, and he terrorizes the forest for people who are disrespecting nature. So in our story, we have a few campers going out, and they're having fun in the forest, but they're not being too respectful, and they have to encounter this monster. And so our monster goes and teaches them a lesson, and they learn to respect nature.
Our last story is called The Adventures of Terry and Harry. It's a tortoise and the hare rendition. It's based on ancient Greek culture about a turtle and the hare. We all know the original story, but in ours we have a race against the two, but Terry decides to cheat and it doesn't work out. But Harry, putting friendship above all else, decides to carry them both across the finish line, and our moral for this story is to put friendship above all and don't cheat.
So if you're wondering if we actually did it or if we're using amazing acting skills, we did. So here's our implementation. So in our first picture, we have our narrators on stage. In our next one, we have characters and ensemble from our adventures of Terry and Harry. We have Harry and Gia at the store looking for food. And then we have Benny and his family from The Boy Who Cried Claw. On our next slide, we have Benny and his family once again, and then we have our ensemble cheering on our racers, and then last but not least, we have our director and our stage managers doing our introduction for audience participation.
A little description of our project is that we produced the show December 14th of last year with the Hampton Arts Education to engage and encourage young children with the arts. We came together as performing arts students and to unite the community as a whole.
Alright, so some things that went really well with our project. We had a very enthusiastic audience. We had a few kids, as we said, came up to us, told us that they really enjoyed the show, along with the parents. We also were able to collaborate really well with each other. We went through a lot of different meetings, a lot of different ideas that we all had to come together and put them together in agreement with each other. And then we also were able to collaborate really well with our community partners. We emailed them plenty of times to figure out what they wanted and how we could incorporate our needs and their needs. And we also created a very inviting and entertaining atmosphere for our performance.
Obviously, there are always areas for growth. We did have some issues with contracting because they got held up in higher up offices, as well as some attendance issues with our students.
Okay, so reflection. So of course we went through some struggles and strengths. Starting off with the struggles, we weren't able to get much promotion. And that's because initially we were working with 2 representatives, but unfortunately they gained new positions in the middle of our process. So we had to work with a whole new set. And unfortunately they didn't know all of our wants and needs. Therefore our show didn't get as much promotion as we would have liked to. We had some struggles with crew and communication, and those go hand in hand. You know, we're teenagers. You know, sometimes we don't want to come to class, sometimes we don't want to come to class on time, and you know, we're tired, we're working in the morning, but we got it all worked out. And then last but not least for our struggles, our pricing of tickets. So this unfortunately was out of our control. When you are selling tickets on Ticketmaster, ticket sales, the tax, it goes high up. But when you come to the booth, it was a little bit cheaper, so we did have some issues with that. But moving on to our strengths, even though we didn't have much promotion, we still had a great audience with amazing feedback, and we created an environment for more opportunities to arise. And here are some polls that we did from a few people that attended our performance. So, you know, you can see how likely are you to attend another production by Kecoughtan if you enjoyed the show. And of course, we got some comments.
A few of our next steps are to continue our pathway in children's theater. We're going to write new scripts, create a guide, and we're going to continue to partner with the Hampton Arts Education and the American Theater.
All right, so for our personal reflection, we have a 4 for citizenship, a 3 for collaboration, a 3 for communication, a 4 for creative thinking, a 3 for critical thinking, and a 4 for wellness.
Are there any questions from you guys at this time? Yes.
I have a compliment and also a question. My compliment is I'm very, very impressed that you guys focused on project management and project management tools, because that's something that the younger folks don't always understand is critical, like managing each step of the process. So kudos for that. My question is, have y'all thought about investigating external funding sources to offset the ticket cost to make this more accessible to the community?
Sorry. We did, again, like we said, we had some issues with the contracting because of higher ups, and so that also went into some of the ticket sales. We didn't know that using Ticketmaster meant like cheap tickets went to really, really expensive tickets. Yeah. Because I personally don't buy tickets online. So we would definitely look into that moving forward, but this was really just meant to be kind of something easy that teenagers could do with no money, and then seeing what we could make from this, like what the general draw would be. But seeing how we got receptive feedback from it and it was really well received, we would absolutely look into that. Great answer. Anybody else?
Well done.
Thank you guys.
Let's do it. All right. I am Destiny Carter. I'm Piper Gilly. I'm Madison Newton. And we represent Miss Bourne's White 7 class. Driving question. How can we use the arts to support the goals and missions of local community organizations? Our project overview. Inspired by the graduate Josh Cunningson's PBL project of 2023 to 2024, we collaborated with Miss Huber's general music class to promote and implement inclusive theater throughout our building. We wanted to make sure that we were not just focused on the school, but the community itself. So we partnered with Beyond Excellence to bring inclusion theater to the community. Our background research. As you may remember from last year, with his lovely little headshot, Josh Cunnison presented a similar PBL where he worked with Miss Huber's general music students to provide inclusive theater to them. This project was really important for us to continue for 2 reasons. For me specifically, I do have 2 younger siblings who have autism, and knowing that in the future they may be denied opportunities to perform just because of their autism makes me extremely disheartened, and they have expressed interest in performing, so making sure that I'm actively taking steps to provide a safe space for them in the future is extremely important to me. But it was also important for us as a class because we got the chance in the last year to work with his class and work with the general music students and see how they completely transformed whenever they worked with Josh. They became more confident, more self-assured, and had a fun time on stage. And so we knew that whenever Josh graduated, we couldn't let his project die, and we knew that we had to take it to the next level this year. So for our background research, we first started with researching children's theater and fairy tales. Fairy tales were the bare bones of our project. We knew they were important to include because they have morals that ring true today, but they're also easily adaptable, which leads us to the inclusion of those special needs in theater. Having scripts that are easily adaptable was extremely important to us because we knew that a one-size-fits-all script is not the answer to our project. We need to make sure that our scripts are adaptable and can change over time that match the students' needs. The scripts contain writing that are very short phrases. That way these phrases can be programmed into all the students who are nonverbal into their tablets. They match students with mobility issues, and they also match students with their special interests to make sure that they are enjoying themselves and are their most confident selves on stage. And finally, to tie our whole project together with a little bow, we decided to work with Beyond Excellence this year because we knew we wanted to collaborate with an adult center to understand not only how the arts impacts the communities, but how what we were doing in the walls of Kecoughtan will impact us going forward and the community around us as a whole.
Planning and proposal. What we plan to do. We always knew that we wanted to do something based on fairy tales. Our project plan included and it grew from the idea that we were going to create lesson plans for the children with special abilities, and we wanted to expand and include the adult learners within the community. So, how we did it. We worked closely with the general music students, watching the progress with the play development and creating a general lesson plan. My 2 friends, Piper and Destiny, will be handing out the scripts that we created as a class in Mrs. Bourne's White 7 class. This script took weeks, even months to make, and we're still making edits to it to this day. The script we're handing out now is missing one of the stories that we recently adapted because we realized we needed more. We wanted to be inclusive and we wanted to be adaptable, and that's a big part. The big thing with scripts is we wanted to be able to adapt to what the children need themselves.
So, our proposed timeline. In September, our class started to learn about folktale and fairy tale stories. In October, we were able to meet with the Hampton Arts Education Organization. In November, we collaborated to make fairy tale scripts for the general music class, make the lesson plans, and deep dive really into the project. In December, we took our trip to Beyond Excellence. In January, we continued to work with Ms. Huber's class, blocking, casting, etc. And now in February, we are finalizing our project, and we're still continuing to work with Ms. Huber's class.
Implementation. In this picture up here, we are currently working with our general music class and introducing them to certain theater warm-ups and just making sure that they are ready and willing to perform right during rehearsals. In this picture, Piper over here is introducing them to blocking and showing them how they should move throughout the stage. In this picture over here, we are playing a game called Cross the Road. It's basically an improv like charades. And I'll tell you to cross the road as a car, and then they'll just, broom, broom right along. And then right here is where we ended our meeting with Beyond Excellence.
After a very vicious snowball fight, might we add.
Very vicious. Oh my God. I got hit in the head once. Oh yeah, it was terrible. And over here, the adult learners are reading through our scripts that all of you had.
It was really important for us to bring this script to them because we really wanted to make sure that they saw what we were doing within the walls of Kecoughtan. And even after reading the script, one of the adult learners came up to me. I would say he's around 40 or 50, and he was like, I never realized I could be an actor until this moment. And that truly, that stuck with me since the meeting in December.
Right here we have a picture of our older management plan. The original plan for us was to create a fairy tale production with the general music class and perform for a community audience, which is still our plan, and raise money for a local organization, but due to certain circumstances, we had to sadly depart with them. And then we ended up working with Beyond Excellence, which was a very enriching experience.
And our reflection. Things that worked well for us, we were extremely resilient. As Destiny mentioned, we did have to pivot from our original plans. However, I could not be more thankful for us having to pivot because I believe that the experience we have gained from Beyond Excellence is truly something that's incomparable to anything else that we could have done previously. Again, we stayed open-minded with the changes. We didn't shut down and freak out whenever we realized that our plans weren't going as we had originally thought they were. We stayed open-minded. We communicated with one another about how we could find easy solutions. Not easy, but how we could find better solutions. That way this project would still come to fruition, that we could stand here before you guys today. And again, we adapted to change. Areas for growth, time management could be better. As we've mentioned, we are high schoolers. We are struggling with senioritis, unfortunately. It's chronic. So there were definitely a few moments where we were sat in class and we could have divided up our time a lot wiser. We could have divided and conquered multiple assignments instead of having everyone in the class work on the script. We could have had one half do the script, other half do sets, and vice versa. And again, taking more time to go to Beyond Excellence and strengthening communication. Whenever we first went to Beyond Excellence, we were a little bit surprised because the difference in mentality between the students here and the learners at Adult Excellence was not something that we were necessarily prepared for. But again, going back to with what worked well, we were resilient, we adapted to the change, and we were able to survive and thrive. Which leads us to our next steps. We fully intend on returning to Beyond Excellence within the lesson plan catered to their strengths and needs. Again, we know what they're like now. We are more prepared and better suited to return with a more appropriate lesson plan that fully engages them better than the first visit. Our performance with the general music students is slated for May/early June, and we intend to invite the Beyond Excellence adults. That way we can merge the two groups and do the games that we've played with both groups to see how they interact and see how it shapes their personalities. We also intend to talk with the current junior class representatives to make sure that this project does not die whenever we leave. As we've mentioned, this is a very rare opportunity for students with special needs to have in the first place, and for adult learners at Beyond Excellence to have as well. And so making sure that this project survives well after we leave the walls of Kecoughtan is extremely important to everyone up here, but also in our class as well.
Reflection. What struggles did we encounter and overcome? Our plans changed as stated in the previous slides. It was pretty time consuming, the scripts, trying to find someone else that was willing to work with us.
But in the end, we were able to overcome those challenges. What would we do differently and tell ourselves what we would do if we had to start again today? Manage our time very wisely, as Piper did state. Splitting up our groups between scripts, set, working with the general music class was all something that we needed to work through. Manage your time. Oh. What skills did we develop? We did strengthen our communication skills as well as our empathy.
And these are all things that we reflect on as well with your interview with Miss Addie as well.
Yes. With Miss Addie and Miss Huber, they did notice that throughout the past couple months, they've seen how the general music class has become more confident and has been reaching out to us more throughout the hallways and in class. And it's just been a great experience seeing how they've grown throughout from like September to now. And I'm just so happy to be able to spend my time with them throughout this year. And I hope that throughout next year, hopefully, oh my God, that the junior class, upcoming senior class, will do this as well.
Our rating ourselves citizenship, working responsibly for the greater good of the community, giving ourselves a 4. Not only did we focus on the students within Kecoughtan, we focused on the adults outside of Kecoughtan. A collaboration, we worked together well. However, we did give ourselves a 3 because, as mentioned, teenagers can be teenagers, so working with each other can be troublesome at times. So we did have to adapt to those changes, which is why we docked the point. Communication 3 as well. Again, there could have been stronger communication between us and Beyond Excellence to better prepare ourselves for the visit. Creative thinking, we did give ourselves a lower score on this one just because this is building off of Josh's project from last year. However, with the new elements that added, it makes up for that. Critical thinking and wellness, we gave ourselves a 4. We believe that we more than adequately gave ourselves the skills to take this project to the next level.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Any questions? Yes.
Can you speak to a little bit to how your plans changed? You all referred a couple times to how your plans changed. You had to pivot. Could you speak a little more on that?
Yeah, of course. So originally, our plan did not include Beyond Excellence. Instead, what we were going to do was just do a general performance with the general music students, and while simultaneously hosting a drive that for the good of the community. However, those plans fell through. We weren't able to logistically have a way to do this performance and maintain those community partners within time, but that led us to pivot to Beyond Excellence whenever we found a better opportunity to present itself, so we took it and we stayed true to it.
Lesson plans really came out of that. So instead of focusing more on a drive, we wanted to bring it out to the community. The lessons that we've been doing with Ms. Huber's general music class, we wanted to give those same lessons but adapt them to the community.